3 months ago, I got very out of shape. So I got to 170 pounds, which for my height is pretty fat. I was probably around 23, 24, almost 25% body fat, right? So as of last week, I hit 143 pounds, which makes it over 25 pounds that I've lost in these 3 months, right? So how did I lose this much weight quickly? Because if you do the math, 25 pounds in 3 months is about 8 pounds a month, which is almost 2 pounds a week, which sounds like a lot because that's a 1,000 calorie deficit every day. And it was, but how did I maintain it so easily? Because this entire time I was getting stronger in the gym, I felt better. I was actually like very full after every single meal I ate. I never felt hungry. So how exactly was I doing this? I'm gonna just give you a quick flex. Damn. Like I said in my first video, neck training will start soon. It's starting today actually, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully you'll see in a couple months this neck is gonna grow. So the first thing I started doing to help me lose weight was intermittent fasting. So you've probably heard of intermittent fasting a couple times. You probably think it's some sort of like scam tactic or like something like these snake oil salesmen try to tell you to do. Like I know this one, I forget his name. It's the guy that does like the Patrick Bateman style videos. Kinobody. You always see, like I always saw Kinobody like talking about like intermittent fasting and like all this stuff, right? And the truth is that like it does work, but not for the reasons you think. So I think I'm gonna link a podcast. I'll link Dr. Andrew Huberman's podcast in the description. He's a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford, and he has an entire podcast about the benefits of fasting and why it's good for you. Because to be honest, I don't care to explain why it's good for you. I'm assuming you already know that it's good for you. But if you're not convinced, then you can go to the description of my video and you'll see, oh wait, I can't link videos yet, but just search up Andrew Huberman fasting. There's an entire podcast dedicated to the effects of fasting, the benefits of it, and why it's healthy for you. So for my cut, I was fasting for the first 6 hours of every morning, 6-7 hours. So it was essentially a 17 hour fast and then like a 7-8 hour eating window, right? So from a common sense perspective, if there's less time to eat, you're not gonna eat as much. Because a lot of people pretend like if there's less of a window, they're still gonna eat the same amount, which is just not true. Because at least for me, I normally eat like I have a pretty high metabolism. My maintenance is about a bit over 3,000. So like when I was cutting 2 pounds a week, I was eating about 2,300 calories, right? And I was only eating 2 meals a day. So it's quite difficult to eat 2,200 calories or 2,300 in just 2 meals, especially with the information I'm going to share with you later on what meals I was exactly eating. I'm just collecting my thoughts. So yeah, intermittent fasting will help you lose weight a lot easier because there's less of an eating window, so you're going to eat a lot less. And a side effect of this is that intermittent fasting will help you focus a lot better, right? So when you're digesting food, your brain just can't work with the same sharpness or like the same level of clarity that it can when you're not digesting food. So if you haven't eaten anything since last night, I would recommend getting, if you can obviously, if you have like an 8 a.m. job or a career, then you can't do this, but I would recommend getting all your work done in the morning before you eat your first meal. All like the high level people do this. So like, I mean, well, I won't say high level, I'll say all the financially successful people do this. So like Andrew Tate, Justin Waller, Iman Gadzhi, like these people, they fast and sometimes only eat one meal a day, right? But they get all their work done before that one meal. So you have to think, like, you may not like these guys, and that's fine. I'm not the biggest fans of them, but you have to think, if they're millionaires and they're choosing to fast and do their work while they're fasted, there has to be a reason for it, right? Because if there was an advantage to eating first and then fasting, then they would have already done it, right? But they're purposely choosing to work while they're fasted and only eating their first meal after they finish all their work. So just keep that in mind. That's just another side benefit of fasting, which Andrew Huberman also explains in his podcast. So the second thing I did was I went on this very almost carnivore / keto diet, which if you heard this and you watch fitness content, you're probably thinking like, oh, this guy's like fucking brainwashed, right? He's like a keto guy or like a carnivore guy. I'm not exactly. It's just something that I've used for the cut, because in general, eating meat is a lot more satiating than eating something like pasta or like even rice. So I remember one of the meals I had for my dining hall at my college was literally 2 double grilled chickens. So that's 4 grilled chickens, right? So it was about 80 grams of protein and 550 calories, which is not very much at all, right, for one meal. And I would like struggle to finish this. I would feel like throwing up. Like I felt so full from just eating this chicken, right? And most of the days, I just have this chicken or sometimes beef, or sometimes if they had it, salmon. I would have that and then some sort of fruit. It was almost, I'd say 80% or 85% of my entire diet when I was cutting was just meat and fruit, which sounds very restrictive. It sounds unhealthy. And obviously I'm not a doctor, so like don't take this as like medical advice. But from my personal experience, I felt amazing. I wasn't eating many carbs, but I still felt a lot of energy throughout the day. There was no crashes. So personally, I found a big benefit in that. So if you want to try that, obviously, like I said, I'm not a doctor. Don't take this as medical advice. Don't fucking sue me if you pass out. But if you want to try this, I'd recommend you can give it a shot, you know? The third thing I did to help with my weight loss was I just started walking more often, which sounds kind of stupid, but like, trust me when I say it works. So like, what I was doing every day, because like I'm on the 5th floor of my residence hall, right? My dorm. So usually I take the elevator down to the 1st floor. But for these 3 months, I just chose to take the flight of stairs every day. And since I was leaving so many times to like go to class or go to lunch or meet some friends, I would be walking up and down the stairs at least like 5, 6, 7 times a day. And that's 5 flights of stairs, right? So that does add up. And on top of that, if the class was nearby or if I had time, I just wouldn't take the bus to the class because, you know, I was in Georgia, right? I'm in Chicago now since I'm back home, but in Georgia, it's pretty decent weather, you know? It's like 50s, 60s, even in like the winter. So if I have time, I will choose to walk to class instead, especially since like Georgia is at least my university is a very hilly area, so like there's all these ups and downs. So it's almost like you're getting like free incline treadmill cardio, you know? Just think of it like that, and then you'll get a lot more steps in. The fourth thing, and the final thing I did to help was shadow boxing and boxing. So I'm not sure where I saw this, but boxing is one of the most cardio intensive sports, and it burns some of the most calories compared to any other sport. I think it's only second to like MMA and swimming, probably. Boxing burns a lot of calories, right? So I spent a lot of time just in my room like a fucking idiot, just like, obviously I'm terrible at boxing, but like, I just spent time in my dorm room like just looking like a fucking doofus, just like doing this and just like shadow boxing for like 20, 25, 30 minutes every day. So that also helps a lot because I'm not sure how many calories it's gonna burn, but it will burn a significant amount of calories and it'll make a difference in your cutting for sure. So yeah, those are the tips I had for my cut. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. I'm just gonna sit here and like collect my thoughts for a second. Oh yeah, okay, one more thing. Drink a lot of water. So you can go on any like basic water calculator, or you can just use this. I think the formula I use to calculate how much water I need is about, I think, either 2/3 or 3/4 of your body weight in pounds, and that's how much water you need in ounces. Sorry if you use like the metric system or like the imperial system. If you use the metric system, I can't convert it for you. But like if you use the U.S. imperial system, 0.7, 3/4 or 2/3 of your body weight in pounds, and that's how much water you need in ounces. So let's say you're 160 pounds, 3/4 of 160 pounds is 120 pounds. So you should aim for 120 ounces of water a day, which is almost a gallon, which sounds like quite a bit, but the benefit of drinking more water is that you'll be a lot less hungry, because there's a lot of times where you think you're hungry, but it's just that your stomach is empty and you just need some water. So obviously I'm not saying like, oh, just drink water the entire day, but this will also help you perform better in cardio, in your workouts, if you're hydrated. I think like the statistic is like you decrease by like, don't quote me on this, but like for like 7-8% in performance for every 1% dehydrated you are. It's a big difference. So obviously if you perform better in the cardio, you'll burn more calories. If you perform better in the weightlifting session, since you're hydrated, you build more muscle. So these are like little minuscule things that will help you, and it will make a difference in the long run. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, you can always leave feedback. I always appreciate that, and I'll see you tomorrow.